Honorable Joshua Ngetich, member of the committee.
Honorable Frederick Kemboy, member and the vice chair.
Gideon Kaich, MCA, member.
Walter Teno, MCA, member.
Robert Kirwa, member.
Chiruya Telfas, MCA, member.
Thank you. And we have a team of the technical staff led by Kemei, who's the clerk, and we also have our advocate, Justice, who they have stepped out briefly. They will be joining us. I would seek all right, we will suspend for a minute.
Kindly, you'll be abstaining. I have a template of the oath right here with me. You'll have to go through it. After the I, there's your name. You have to go through it till help me God. You can proceed. Put your right hand up, please.
Okay. I, Japhet Tirop, having been invited to give evidence and produce documents before this Ad-Hoc Committee on World Bank-sponsored projects, do solemnly swear that whatever I will say and or produce before the honorable committees shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, in line with the Constitution of Kenya and all the laws of the land, and that I will, to the best of my ability, aid it, find the truth without fear, favor, bias, affection, or prejudice. So help me God.
You'll proceed to put in your name, your ID, and then sign it. Thank you very much, Mr. Tirop.
Thank you. I think, Mr. Tirop, you did receive a letter from this committee. So would you be able to introduce yourself formally, as well as also comment on the letter that you received?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. I think on the 8th of June, I did get a letter in my office from the Sergeant at Arm inviting me to appear before this committee and provide certain documentation, of which I received the letter. I also equally made a correspondence to the effect of where the custody of the documents were in relation to what the committee had requested.
What was your response to the documents?
My response was to the effect that the requested documents were in the custody of the accounting officer in charge of the department that initiated the procurement process for the World Bank projects. And I did indicate that I would be willing to be before this committee for any further information.
Okay. So I think, honorable members, we would want to limit our discussion to the issue of the tender. You being the head of procurement in the county, our interest is on the issue of three issues. One, as to the issue of the tender process on the IDEP. That's IDEP, the consultant firm that did the job, and the procurement of the Kenya Urban Support Program projects. From the onset, would you confirm that the procurement process was followed to the letter?
Honorable Chair, yes, I want to confirm that for the matters that you have raised before me, the procurement process was followed to the letter.
Can you confirm that?
Yes, I can. I do confirm.
Take us through the procurement process for the IDEP.
This is a consultancy process that would follow through what we would call a request for proposal. Technically, what happens is that the technical department raises the terms of reference with relation to the nature of the service being sought. Upon approval by the accounting officer, that is to confirm availability of funds or where the vote comes from, then the process begins with a request for the process to begin. Upon technical advice as well, depending on the nature of how the service is to be procured, there of course would be a couple of procurement methods to be used in the process. So in the event where we require competitive bidding, we would have to go for open tenders. In the event where there's specific service needed and the value for money would be obtained, there would be other methods as well as provided by the Act. So
limit yourself. So how was the consultant for the IDEP arrived at?
This was a consultant procured through another public entity. So that in technicality, we call it a non-procurement, but it is a direct procurement in the sense of one public entity to another public entity. In this case, that's Jomo Kenyatta Enterprise Limited.
Okay.
Yes.
So who sourced for the consultant?
It is an initiation of the department, that's the technical department, and then we aid. Our role is to aid the process.
So was it the municipality or the Department of Administration?
In handling a procurement matter, we handle it through an accounting officer who is responsible for a specific vote. So that is the CEO administration.
The CEO administration.
Yes.
And you ensure that all the procurement processes and requirements were adhered to.
Yes, exactly.
I will take you to the procurement process of the projects under UDG, that is Urban Development Grant. It was advertised.
As mentioned, Honorable Chair, there are different procurement methods that can be applied. Well, for an engagement with a public entity, you do not need to advertise. Yeah. Where you do open tenders, for competitive bidding, that is where you will be required to make an advertisement. Yes.
So, to the urban support programs, it was tendered and then retendered. Can you tell us the process, at what point the process was stopped and why it was stopped? And what was your opinion of the process?
Sorry, this is for the IDEP?
No. IDEP, we have gone out of the IDEP. We are now talking about the municipality projects, the urban support program.
Okay, that's the
development.
The development.
Yes.
We did make an initial advertisement for which the process began, of course, after necessary approvals. And prior to, because where the opinion comes, Honorable Chair, is at the conclusion of an evaluation process.
Correct.
In this case, for the first process, it did not reach a complete evaluation report.
The evaluation, what was it on the evaluation stage?
Yes, before the handing over, because the requirement of the law is that the chair of the evaluation committee hands in the entire evaluation report.
To who now?
To my office,
yes,
or to the head of the procurement function, who would then go through and make an opinion. In the first instance, there was no evaluation report submitted to me for an opinion. Instead, as required by law, which is completely the prerogative of the accounting officer, he can terminate the proceedings of a procurement process. That responsibility, because he's the one who initiates.
Yes.
He can terminate prior to award or prior to issuance of contract. So purely based on that prerogative, where the accounting officer who initiated the process can cancel, that happened. And of course,
in writing, was that cancellation done in writing?
Yes, it was.
And he does the cancellation notification to who of cancellation?
There is a requirement to several, that is by law now.
So he writes to who? That we are cancelling.
Notification to the bidders that this process has been terminated. But the law further requires that you need to, within 14 days, notify the regulatory authority, that is the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, PPRA, that you were unable to complete a process, which was an advice and a requirement by the
with
law.
Reasons, right?
With reasons, exactly.
So was that done?
Yes.
You have a copy of the letter that was done to PPOA?
Yes, I do have a copy, which was provided in the second process now while I was doing the review.
No, for the cancellation. You said during cancellation you notify the bidders and you also write to? PPOA.
Yes,
so do you have the letter to the PPOA?
Yes, I have.
We have seen the letters we have only seen the letters to the bidders.
Yes, there is one.
We have not seen the one so you have it with you there?
This I may not be able to provide from the files I have here. I would have to formally.
But you have it.
But there is a copy of that letter.
Okay, so you will be able to share with us by Monday. Now, on the process during the tendering process, there are committees that are put in place.
Yes.
And which do minutes. So you say the initial one, it was terminated just before they concluded the evaluation.
Yes.
So that means the other minutes before evaluation are there.
I am not aware of any minutes because the output of an evaluation process is evaluation minutes which are presented
To you.
to me. There was
I'm saying
no
about
such-
the other steps before the evaluation. There is the tender committee,
Yes,
there
of-
is
yeah,
the
appointment of
opening
the-
committee.
Yes.
Yes.
That is entirely a function of the accounting officer. He appoints. The only interaction from my end is at the point of handing over of the evaluation report.
But at your end, as the head of procurement,
Yes.
you are in charge of the entire process of procurement, as much as the CEO or the initiating department as appointed. As a recipient, you cannot only depend on an evaluation report. You must also, for you to form an opinion, you must also be able to have the other minutes of the opening minutes and the tender, what do you call, the tender committee minutes, as well as the evaluation.
Yes.
Yes.
That is true, and I'm saying the same. At the conclusion of the second process, of course, I had to review that because that is the point when the file is then handed over to me. So that information is there.
So you
I
have
reviewed
for the second,
including the first, because
including the first.
yes.
So you have the minutes for the first, which was not concluded.
No, not minutes, appointment. Remember, I said the output of the first process before an opinion is the minutes, but there was no such. There was, I didn't have evaluation minutes.
No, but there were minutes for the tender.
Opening, yes.
Yes.
And appointment.
And appointment.
Yes.
So do you have it? Did you get it?
Yes, in the file that was in the custody of the department, there is. Because what happens is that at the conclusion of the opinion, then it goes to the CEO for contract and filing.
But for you,
Yes.
as the head of procurement, any procurement in this county, you have responsibility.
Agreed.
Exactly. So even on this one, the minutes for the opening and the tender and the evaluation committee, whether it was concluded or not, it is solely a responsibility to your office.
That's, I hope, Chair, I want to be very, I'm not saying that I don't have, but I'm saying because of how the procurement process goes, that's why we call supply chain. It
Yes.
is not static in my office.
Correct.
Once the opinion has been issued, there are further steps, including order to commence, including appointment of project. So what happens is, for completeness of filing, the law provides that the accounting officer is responsible for full documentation. So
But you are accountable.
in the chain, yes, I'm accountable. There's
Correct.
no question about it.
So it will also be of interest to you to have them.
Yes, agreed. So officially, the accounting officer would be, even if I am to provide any information to this committee, it is from the same chain end that I will pick it, request from the.
So are you able to give us the minutes from the first tendering, from the opening to where it was terminated?
Through the accounting officer, yes.
No, it is your responsibility to ensure you deliver. Because you are the one in charge of supply chain, that you can be able to say, because this is my line, can I get these minutes? Because you are the one who gives the opinion based on an analysis of the entire process.
Agreed, Chair. Yes, I can provide.
Thank you, Honorable Gideon.
Maybe, Chair, I need to ask, at what level was the cancellation done?
Before award, after the first advertisement. Before even the conclusion of the evaluation.
So at the evaluation started, at the opening of the tender started?
Yes.
That means had this tender committee retreated to do the report?
I'm aware that they had already begun the evaluation, but they had not completed. I believe during the evaluation process, the law provides that you have to have 3 members from the department, including heads of the technical units in the department. I want to believe within that period of evaluation, they noted the gaps, and the law allowed the accounting officer to terminate before award, which had not happened.
So what was the reason for cancellation?
The information that was provided, which was now in the letter that went to PPRA, was some technical components which were missed out, and there were mandatory requirements from the sponsor, who is World Bank. I can exactly.
You have them, eh? Are you able to extract them?
I did make a request just so I can, from the documents that were within the department, there were technical components, honorable members, that affected both tenders in terms of the BQ.
Okay.
I don't know whether it is in this file, but the same was provided.
It is something that you can provide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
As you peruse. Now, what was the tender award criteria? Did you use list cost selection or quality-based selection?
The criteria is always in the tender document.
So, but you are the head of procurement. You would know. By the time you are giving an opinion, it has to be informed by the process, the criteria you followed.
The criteria is very clear. There are, let me call 3 stages. There is a preliminary stage where you have mandatory documents provided.
No. Was it the cost? Of course, all of them have the process, but was it list cost selection or quality-based? You understand what I'm saying?
That would only refer to services. But in this case, on the development projects, it does not apply to the extent where the technical team and, of course, with input from my office develops the criteria.
But there has to be a criteria. Who developed the criteria?
The criteria is developed on the preliminary, or that would be largely an input from procurement because these are statutory requirements, and that is with a lot of input that we get from PPRA because they provide the standard documents. Then on the technical, it is developed by the technical team because then they state the technical aspects of the project, like how.
But whatever criteria is picked by whichever team, for you to make an informed opinion, you have to be on the know. So that you are saying, on this criteria, they have abided by this, on that, you would have that.
I would have.
So you would be able to provide us that with that criteria.
Yes, it is even open. It is actually, Honorable Chair, an open document because we put it on the.
No, it's okay. The criteria you are able to supply us.
Yes.
Okay. Honorable Ngetich.
Continue first, Chair.
All right, Honorable Walter.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to ask the head of procurement, how much have you paid so far in the said tender?
Paid?
The tender, yeah, how much have you paid?
I am not a signatory to the payment process, Honorable Member. I don't know what that means. I wouldn't have details of payments.
But I think at some point you know how much the project is costing and how much has been paid and how much is remaining at some point. Because you are head of procurement, you know. You can't say you don't know anything about payment.
I wouldn't provide any information that I am not factual about, Honorable Member, because that completely is within the jurisprudence of the accounting officer. I don't sign off any payment.
Okay, Honorable Koech.
Yes. My question is, how many companies bidded for the said contract in the first instance, and how many bidded in the second instance?
If I am to go through, just give me a minute. I would have to go through the registers, which I would want to believe.
You have the register?
From the copy that I made request from the Department of Administration, there is a tender register for the first instance and the second instance. I don't have the exact numbers of the bidders, but I should be able to pull out that from the register. If
Okay.
if I don't now, I can provide later.
Honorable Koech?
I had another question, a follow-up on that. Now that I hope these documents will be supplied to us.
No, they have committed, we will be here.
And our secretariat should be noting that because we will be cross-checking all those documents.
Correct.
My follow-up question would have been, is there a difference that maybe 5 companies bidded in the first round and 3 maybe in the second round? Do you have those information?
Yes, definitely the information is in the records. The first opening minutes, I can see, and the information I have, Honorable Chair, just for
Yes.
for avoidance of any contradiction, is that the same file for which the department, the custodians of the information had is exactly the same document I'm perusing. So
Okay.
I do believe you have the same copies.
All right.
Because I requested just the same copies for purposes. And I can see there were nine
bidders.
9 bidders in tender 1 and 4 bidders in tender 2 at the onset. Yes, at the first tender.
Maybe is that the first, from the first advert that was made?
Exactly, yes.
From the first advert, we had 9 bidders for NMT.
Yes.
Four bidders for the other tender.
Yeah, the urban economic and infrastructure.
Honorable Gideon?
Yes, what about in the second process of tendering?
In the second, allow me to just refer to the minutes. In the second, we had second tender office register. This is, yeah. I have a copy here for, yes, under NMT, we had again 9. Under economic development, this should, I can see I will need to check on the second because what I see is still the first one.
Okay.
I do have a copy of the first. I may need to check on the second, but certainly it is within the files.
Now,
So I think Chair
yes, Honorable.
should make a ruling that we be supplied with those information for the first, advert and then on the second advert.
Okay. I think that you have noted,
Yes.
because some of the documents are here. The appointment letters to the appointment of the tender committee award. We can also see your professional opinion, which is here. So there are only a few that we have asked you that you will need to supply, especially the letter to PPOA on cancellation of the first tender, so that you've committed to indicate to supply. Then I think, Honorable Fred, you had a question? Yes, President.
Yangu maswali yangu ningependa kuuliza kuhusu wakati wanatangaza tenda sasa. Huwa mnapitia mambo ya PQ nini ama inakuja tu vile inaenda na inatangazwa tu?
Mheshimiwa, kwa sababu kila department ama kila mtu ana line yake, mambo ya BQ nitahakikisha ya kwamba ziko sawa kulingana na vile imesainiwa. Kama ni architect amesign ama ni roads engineer, civil engineer, kwamba hii ndio bills of quantities ambayo inafaa kuwa kwa tender. Sasa lakini kupitia ati kukosoa hiyo itakuwa ninapita mamlaka yangu, kwa sababu kila mtu ana profession yake.
Na sasa hivi ukiangalia kwa ile barabara ya wanariadha ya kukimbilia, tulipitia PQ yake tukaona ya kwamba kumbe hakuna, inawekwa mara mtu na inakaa hivyo. Hakuna ile walls ya kuchunga hiyo mara vile hiyo lami iko. Na tayari wananchi wanashangaa ilikuwaje. Alafu ya pili nikashangaa wakati wanapeleka contractor site, sheria inaturuhusu tukue pale ama sheria inaruhusu tufanye public participation?
Inaruhusu kufanya?
Wakati wanapeleka contractor site. Si nafikiri amepata tender. Nani anafaa kupeleka yeye pale? Ni sheria inaturuhusu tutekeleze public participation ama sisi kama MCS ama wananchi wako pale ama ni engineer peke yake ndiye anapeleka?
Nafikiri sijui kama nitaweza kuelezea hapo, kwa sababu wakati wa kusign contract kuna kitu inaitwa order to commence ambayo inaandikwa na accounting officer ama chief officer. Anamueleza contractor unafaa kuanza kazi ama unafaa kukuja ndipo tufanye handover ya site. Katika hiyo barua ndipo atasema ni nani amealika, mwananchi, representative wa community. So hiyo ni jukumu ya accounting officer afanye mwaliko ya wale watu ambao wanahusika na hiyo project. Yeah.
Chairman.
Now there is something that I've been able to trace your professional opinion.
Yes.
And I've also been able to trace the evaluation minutes of the committee chaired by Juliana Ropp, on 13, which is dated 13th of June 2019. The conclusion, out of the 5-member committee, the only 3 who signed, Juliana Ropp, Jerop, Felix K. Mayo, and David Ngetich. After technical evaluation was concluded for the proposed construction of the Urban Economic Infrastructure Development Project, tender number 02R 2018-19, the committee recommended that Daria Company Limited, PO Box 2004 Nairobi, and South Pole Construction Limited, PO Box 1649 Kitale, proceeds for financial ranking. Daria was ranked 1 and South Pole 2. The committee recommends award of tender to the proposed construction of that economic stimulus program to South Pole, since Daria's box did not meet the minimum technical score of 42. Now, in your, seeing your professional opinion on the specific one, urban economics infrastructure you have awarded to South Pole Construction, which is what was done by the evaluation team. I have not been able to place the evaluation minutes for the first tender, or R01, 2018-2019. Do you have a copy there?
Sorry, you don't have a copy of
We
the
can get a
evaluation
copy
minutes?
of the tender one.
Minutes, is that
The minutes, yes, for tender one.
I want to believe the minutes were together. Okay, just so I can shed some light. What happens
Yes.
is that it is not just the report of the evaluation committee that informs my opinion. It is a collection of score sheets and support documents for the same.
And that's what I asked you, the criteria, the checklist that you use.
Yes, and
Yes.
Honorable Chair, I think if you do not have a copy of the same, it can be provided, because in my opinion, I was very clear that
So do you have it yourself?
having relied,
Are you in possession of it?
I can make arrangements for the same to be.
No, do you have it there with you?
I would not want to confirm before I peruse through, but I have a replica of the file that was presented, so if you don't have it there, so definitely it.
Would you be able to
because the source is
confirm?
the same.
Would you
Yes.
be able to confirm
Yes.
that the results of the recommendation by the evaluation committee is what you adhere to?
That is exactly what my opinion says. It's clear in the conclusion part where the opinion comes in that the office of the head of supply chain management, having relied on the details of the technical evaluation presented by the appointed ad hoc evaluation committee, concurs strictly based on facts presented by the evaluation committee's recommendations as follows. So
Okay.
I think that is well captured in the opinion.
So you are confirming that you adhere to it?
Exactly, yes.
Because I've also found the evaluation guidelines that you are mentioning when I asked you whether you are going to do least cost or quality based.
I think to be very, if I can refer, Honorable Chair,
Yes.
the matter of least cost and is strictly as provided on procurement and contracting of services. That is under Part 5 of the Act.
Yes.
That then gives us a very detailed and elaborate program on how to do either the quality and cost-based method or purely quality-based selection. In this case, for the KUSP tenders, that is the urban economic program and the non-motorized and the sewer, we were not following the Part 5 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. It was purely as provided by the section that guides on selection of criteria as developed by the technical team,
Okay.
and input in the tender document.
So the technical team were the last to submit to you?
Yes, that is the technical evaluation report, is as they were checking against what they developed in the evaluation criteria.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I think with that, members, we have the minutes from the one that we have not only been able to place is the one on tender 1. That is for the non-motorized. We have the one for the economic stimulus program. So I would then, as you have committed, ensure that we have a copy of that tender.
Okay.
The minutes for the tender process, the evaluation, and also the evaluation and the award, that is. So I think, members, Honorable Fred, you have a question?
Chairman, hii ni ya si ya KUSP. Unajua nilikuwa nataka niulize nini ilifanyika kwa mambo ya tendering ya maji mpaka ikafika imetolewa kwa supplementary. Sijui the department ilichelewa ama ndio ilichelewa kutangaza, kwa sababu uliangalia mpaka ikatolewa kwa sababu walichelewa. Tayari tulikuwa tumechukua kamiti, tumeenda kwa raia, wanajua maji ina tangi inajengwa hapo, lakini juzi ikatolewa. Najua nilikuwa nauliza kwa sababu yako ndio umechelewa ama si ilifanyaje?
Okay, allow me to respond in English. The initiation of process, okay, specifically let's say water projects, again it comes from the department, and I want to confirm specifically for the 2019-2020 water projects. From the time the process was complete and the budget was complete, and including even the time when there was a specific CEO assigned to that, the information I got was that there is a special focus to make sure that the BQs are correct, and like before, to make sure that people get water. You know, you don't just do a half project. And so up to the point at which the supplementary happened, there had not been any formal BQs forwarded to my office for contracting. So there is nothing much I could do at that point, because my understanding was they are still making sure that we get it right to the BQs.
Okay.
So it was until the point when the supplementary happened, and the figures meant that a certain figure of over 50 million had been taken from water to address emergency issues that had happened arising from the pandemic.
I think that's fine. I think Honorable Fred,
Sure?
Yes, Honorable Fred.
Tena ya pili nilikuwa nataka niulize mwisho maswali. Ukiangalia kama wale wanafuata tenda kwa barabara, sijui kwa nini watu wachache wanapewa kila siku. Ukiangalia sasa kama ile ya grading, for example from Kapsabet, Kilibwani na wapi, ule mtu alikuwa amepata tenda, anatuambia ati nilikuwa na kazi nyingine sijalipwa. Nilikuwa nauliza ni aje mtu anapewa kazi kwa kaunti peke yake, kwa sababu yeye amekataa, amesema hawezi fanya grading kwa sababu yeye achalipwa.
I think Honorable Fred, if we can, I'm sure that is a very serious question, but we can be able to conclude on this. I think those are serious on the outside the Kenya Urban Support Program. The questions that you're being asked are pertinent, but for
Maybe
a matter that needs to be followed up. I just want to conclude the questions that, was there any complaint from any bidders on any process of the procurement for the Kenya Urban Support Program projects?
I did not receive formally in my office any official complaint.
So there was no official complaint?
To my office, maybe to other offices, but to specifically.
And you are not aware that if there was any other complaint to any other office?
Yeah, by not having any formal letter or email, I can confirm addressed to the office or any other office that would have forwarded the information to me. So I would say I am not aware. Okay,
honourable members, is there another question? Because I would want to conclude. Then the documents, once you have filled those documents on Monday, we will analyze vis-a-vis the pile of documents that we have here, and there's a high likelihood that we might require you back to just confirm on what we might be able to find once you provide the documents that are missing.
Okay.
With us. Honourable members? I think we would end at that, and we will thank you for having come before this committee. And unfortunately, you have had to be here longer waiting, but
Okay.
it is because the task was huge for everyone. So we thank you, Mr. Tirop.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, honourable members.
So, honourable members, and then this session we would adjourn.
I propose for adjournment.
Second. Honourable members, this session, this committee is adjourned until the next meeting on notice.